This is Harry Judd for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We're here in Sheffield for the Dalton Smith and Sam O'Mason British super lightweight title fight. I've got the man himself with me, Darren Barker. How are you, Darren?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. I'm always happy to be in Sheffield. It's a city that I know well. When I was boxing as an amateur, I used to box in the EIS up here. I was actually part of the first team that used the new centre, so yeah, know Sheffield well and yeah, love the city.
Congrats, first of all, on your first ever column for DAZN.
Yeah.
You said in that column that you think Dalton Smith is the next big thing. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, I stand by it, and I think anyone who knows boxing would probably agree with me. I mean, when I say the next best thing, I certainly believe he will be a world champion. There's no component, bar experience, that's missing. I think his boxing ability is second to none. Speed, agility, defence, footwork, power. I mean, everything's there. He just needs the fights at the top level to gain that experience. But so far, I've been super impressed with him. And do you know what as well? He's just a top lad. There's no ego. There's no nastiness. There's no bullshit. He's just he's a top lad who looks to me that he's really enjoying boxing, loving his craft, loving what he's doing, and showing us how good he is, and that's all you can ask for.
If he wins on Saturday, you said in that column you would like him to defend it. You think it's obviously he's still an established title.
Yeah, I mean, it's one. I don't think he will have. Obviously, I'm not looking over past Sam O'Mason, but because this is a world title shot. But if all goes the way that the bookies expect, and a lot of the people in the fight business expect it to go, including myself, I think it will come through this in flying colours. I don't know if there's enough challenges in the British ranks for him to win the Lonsdale belt outright. It's something I wish I'd done. I went straight from winning the British title to the European title, so therefore had to vacate the British. But yeah, I think defence of the British. Then, by the way, I love what Eddie said at the presser today. He loves the domestic route as far as British Commonwealth Europeans are concerned. They're really a prestigious belt, so it'd be nice to see Dalton defend the British maybe once or twice, if that is possible, go on to the European. And then, like I said in the column, I don't think he's 5-6 fights off from fighting someone of some significant note. I really do. I mean, how long do you campaign around the sort of middle ground territory when you're as good as him? Those 4, 5, 6 fights are important because he needs that experience. But then, just let him off the leash. I mean, he's that good.
Moving away from the headliner, it's a massive undercard, though, isn't it, Darren?
Yeah, brilliant. I mean, there's some very good fights, and I think as far as the next gen card is concerned, this is a very good one. We've got Jordan Thompson that getting past Ducar in very good fashion. I think imagine if he was to stop Ducar, that's a real statement. We see how hard he pushed CBS, Chris Billam-Smith. You heard Eddie there, that 2023 will be his breakthrough, his big year, that he'll start fighting these big names, and I don't see any reason why that wouldn't be the case. He's such a good fighter, and what you need as a cruiserweight, I feel, to be successful is exactly what Alexander Usyk had, and that's agility, speed and power, and Jordan Thompson has that in abundance. So yeah, thrilled that he's on the card. Sandy Ryan versus Farias, brilliant fight. She wants to right that wrong from the first fight. Hearing a lot of rumours about the camp wasn't great for Sandy Ryan, weight issues, etc. But speaking to Clifton and Sandy herself, and manager Paul Reddy, she's in the right frame of mind here. Weight's spot on. There has been no stone left unturned. So I'm expecting Sandy to beat Farias, who does not take her lightly. She's a former two-weight world champion, but I feel Sandy is a very, very good fighter.
Also on the card is the one and only Campbell Hatton. What do you make of his pro career so far? He's probably the most improved fighter on this bill.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be difficult when you're carrying that surname. The dad was a tremendous fighter, so it's always going to be difficult for Campbell to live up to that reputation, I guess. But he has improved for sure, absolutely improved. We're not expecting massive, drastic improvements straight away, but it's baby steps, and we're seeing that from Campbell. He's learning on the job. I think he only had 15 amateur fights, something like that. So a novice, if you compare myself and a lot of other top amateurs, I had over 100 amateur fights, something like that. He's a novice, so he's learning. We've got to be patient with him, but the journey is going to be very exciting because of the fan base Campbell will generate. Because one, he's a good lad, and two, his dad's a legend.
Also on the bill is the Romford Bull himself, Johnny Fisher. Obviously a tough time out last time, but
you can see me looking everywhere. Like, my kids are running around here somewhere, so I'm trying to be dad plus boxing pundit at the same time. Yeah, I know the two whippersnappers.
absolute carnage in the hotel. But yeah, like I said, Romford Bull on the bill. It was a tough fight last time out, but one of those fights where it's one of those learning fights, one where you go through the rough times, and he got through it, got the win. But what are you expecting from him this time out?
You talk about learning on the job like I did with Campbell Hatton. Well, Campbell Hatton had 15 amateur fights or something around that. Johnny Fisher, I don't think had any. He had a couple of white collars or something like that, as far as I know, and he really is learning on the job. But one thing's for sure is he's in safe hands with Mark Tibbs, tremendous trainer, knows this game inside out. He's no nonsense. He's a proper boxing man, comes from proper boxing stock from his dad, and yeah, I'm a big fan of Johnny for numerous reasons. He is as tough as arseholes, honestly. He's as tough as old boots. He's a lovely lad, and he's I think, look, if he keeps improving, the work ethic, the power, everything's there for him to enjoy the journey of. So yeah, I hope he goes on and does good things.
I want to get your thoughts on some other matters within boxing. I had George Groves on the channel last week, and he said that Benn-Eubank's a mismatch. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, it's a middleweight versus a welterweight. I'm always going to be slightly biased here because I'm friends with Conor. His trainer Tony's like an uncle to me. He trained me for my whole pro career and some before that. So Tony, I've known him for years and years and years. Big supporter of the Matchroom Gym and Tony Sims and all his fighters, and Conor in particular is a good lad. The only thing for me that makes it a mismatch is the weight. I think you talk about most improved fighters, that being Campbell and Hatton on the bill. I think the most improved fighter in Britain is probably Conor Benn. He, if you compare him to the Cedric Payno fighter now, they're completely different fighters, and that's down to the natural talent of Conor Benn and the tutelage of Tony Sims. I do believe that Conor has the know-how to outbox Chris Eubank Jr., if I'm deadly honest, but there is that size, that power advantage that Chris Eubank has. So, and the fact that he's got a granite chin, and we've seen how hurtful Conor is. But you got to remember, Conor's going to be coming down from 12 stone something. I know he is a welterweight, but it's no easy feat for him to get down to welter. Let me tell you that. So he's still going to have to lose a stone to get to the catch weight. So he's going to be strong, he's going to be fueled, he's going to be pumped. I'm sure there's going to be a rehydration clause in there. So, like I say, I am biased, but I make a very good case for Conor Benn to win that fight.
Another fight that actually has been announced is Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker. What's your thoughts on that?
Do you know what? It's an interesting fight. I don't think it's the fight that Joseph Parker wants. I think he'd love to be fighting for world honours or, eliminators, etc. I don't know what is on the line for this fight, if I'm deadly honest. But what a servant to the game he's been, Joe Parker. I mean, what a servant he was through the pandemic with his videos. Fantastic, and I'm a big supporter of him. But I think, sorry, it's my daughter trying to make me laugh. I think I fancy Joyce in this. I think he's a very unorthodox fighter. He's got that amateur pedigree, but I can imagine he's a very, very hard man to beat. And I say imagine because I'm obviously not a heavyweight, never shared the ring with him, but I think he would be a nightmare to come up against. Yeah, I'll probably just leaning towards Joyce there, but I'm not 100%, but yeah.
Don't ask me what I reckon. Who cares what I reckon? I'm here to interview you. I just think it'd be a tough fight.
Oh, the riff-raff's here now. Where you been?
Carnage, absolute carnage in the hotel. So Darren, they're predicting huge pay-per-view figures for this Joe Joyce and Joseph Parker fight. Do you think it transfers into that casual market, or is this a true fight fans fight?
I think boxing fans will tune in. I don't think it crosses over to the sports fan, but I certainly think the boxing public audience supporter will tune in. That's for sure, yeah. We're getting ambushed there, aren't we?
It's worth the wait, Darren. Reports of Tyson Fury and Fury-Chisora. Yeah, your thoughts on that? Obviously, is it a fight that the British fans want, showing how convincing the last fight was between the two?
You can never, who am I to say that Fury-Chisora shouldn't be fighting Tyson Fury? He's an absolute warrior who gives it everything, and that's why everyone loves him, because you know what you're going to get. You know, he's going to bring the action. I think Tyson Fury should sit on his hands until the winner of Usyk Joshua is confirmed and fight the winner of that. That's my. If you're ever going to fight again, because I personally believe that Tyson Fury's legacy, I wouldn't say it lies on fighting the winner of those two, but I think it cements his legacy if he was to go on and beat the winner of AJ Usyk. I mean, you can't really compare Tyson Fury's, I hate using the word resume, his record, to the likes of Lennox Lewis, for example. I mean, Lennox Lewis, the calibre of fighter he fought is incredible. And I think Tyson Fury, though he's beaten some very good fighters, namely Wilder, Klitschko and Dillian White, I don't think you can even start to compare it to Lennox Lewis. Yeah, he lost twice, but he revenged those defeats. I don't think you can compare it, but I think he needs that fight against Usyk or AJ, I think. So, all respect to Chisora, but if I was Tyson Fury, I'd ignore those sort of fights and wait for the winner, and let's have one of the biggest fights that boxing's ever seen.
What do you make of these exhibitions which are being floated around with Tyson Fury?
You know what? It's the hardest sport in the world. If you can make a few quid by having an exhibition, then so be it. Every single boxer that steps in the ring deserves that opportunity. I wish I had the opportunity, but I haven't. One, because no one knows who the fuck I am. But anyway, I'm not against it. I perhaps do have a little bit of an issue with YouTubers pretending they're boxers. But again, it's still bringing a new audience to boxing, which generates more money, which is good for fighters. So, look, there's a place for everything. So, good luck to them all. I'll respect anyone who gets into the ring. It's fucking hard.
Just a few more things. So, Usyk AJ is obviously coming up. As this drawing ever closer, has your mind changed on who you think will win the fight?
Look, I'll always make a case for AJ. I will, because of the size of the man, the weight difference. I think people sometimes forget that heavyweights wear the same ounce gloves as super welterweights, 10-ounce gloves. If AJ catches anyone clean, I don't care who you are, you're going down, and there's a good chance you're not getting back up. So you can never ever rule out someone that big. But I've still got to put my money on Usyk. I mean, he's yet to be beaten, and it's very hard to bet against a man that hasn't been beaten. That's why I always will bet. I'll never bet against Fury. How can you bet against him? He's never been beaten. So, though I make a case for Anthony Joshua, I certainly believe he can win the fight. My money's on Usyk.
And one more speculation: Buatsi and Bivol.
Look, yeah, that's the governor. This is who we're talking about Saturday night. The future of Sheffield boxing. And the future of Sheffield boxing.
Just a quick one before you go. Speculation on Buatsi and Bivol. Your thoughts on that first?
Love it. I hope I get to dust off my suitcase because I'm hearing it's Abu Dhabi. Brilliant fight. Really, really, really good fight. And I hope that gets across the line. I really do, because it's time that we see Buatsi in there now with an elite level fighter, and Bivol has proved he is that, so buzzing.
Thanks for your time, Darren. I know you've got to go back to being dad, and cheers for your time, mate.
My absolute pleasure.